Humans, what have you learned? I was programmed to beat you. Same mistakes. I was programmed to beat you. Humans, what have you learned? I was programmed to beat you. have you learned? I was programmed to beat you.
But here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Hello, and welcome back to FRLT Tier 1. Yes, we return this week once again for some more of the lovely league of FRLT. Of course, this week we're coming to round 10 of the season, and it is time to go to the track of Monza in Italy. 5.793 kilometers, 3.599 miles, 11 turns, 2 DRS zones down the pit straight, and then down the third straight of the track between turn 7 and turn 8. Of course, some of the legendary corners, for instance, the first chicane, where we saw Daniel Ricciardo make a giant dive bomb back in, I believe, it was the year of 2014 and 2016, both years. Of course, we also have Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2 is turn 6 and 7, and the final corner, Parabolica, and that is everything. Now, looking at the calendar, as you can see, for Tier 1, we've gone through Belgium, we've gone through Mexico, we've gone through Imola, Kota, Austria, Abu Dhabi, then we had a break week, then we came back with Hungary, Great Britain, China, and now we come to the final 4 races of the season as we go to Monza here tonight, Brazil next week, followed by then a break week, which we will then see Saudi Arabia return to Saudi Arabia on the 17th of the 9th, followed by then Japan on the 24th of the 9th to be the final race of the season. Also, to add on to that, it's going to be a very interesting night to see how this goes, very much. Absolutely, just going to be very interesting. So, we're going to be getting ready about now. Ultimately, people were meant to be readying up, but we'll see. Whether people feel like coming. Nobody's really wanted to ready up here tonight. So, ultimately, it's going to be quite an interesting evening on its way now. Let's have a look at the constructor standings after our 9 races. AMS dominance continues on P1 and P3. Almost a 1-2 finish, but just beaten by a TTRE driver who finished second. I believe that was Zeros last week, who have picked up a qualifying ban from him due to an incident during qualifying, but not a time penalty, so he stayed P2. So AMS now lead by 113 points in the championship, ahead of ABE, who had a rough race last time around, P8. DNF, of course, TTRE getting double points last race as well. CRE only coming home with P6 and P11 after Betsy got a penalty, a 5-second time penalty. And that saw them get overtaken by TTRE by 6 points now as TTRE move up to 3rd in the Constructors. First time for CRE that they are sitting in 4th in the Constructors since, I believe, it was round 3. Back in round 3 was the last time it was actually going into round 3 was the last time that they were below 3rd in the Constructors. Since then, they've been there the entire time, except in round 4. From round 5 onwards, they've been inside of the top 3. TE having a bit of a rough week, only 6 points scored, better than their last 2 races where they only scored a combined of 6 points in the last 2 weeks, but not the worst. TIR, again, no points, back-to-back races without points. First time this season for them that they've gone without points in back-to-back races. 12 Esports right on the back of them after a P5 finish with the man of NTN last week. He followed that up, getting them in front of AERO up into 7th in the Constructors, and now as AERO only scored 2 points last race to get up to 47 points, yet they now drop down to 8th in the Constructors. MRA had a really strong race with, I believe it was Josh Rose, yes it was, in P4 and P14 for the team. Ultimately, their biggest points finish of the season are 12 points coming their way, up to 37 points in their campaign now. SET, another double DNF for them, back-to-back races of that. They're hoping to change that heading into Monza here tonight. And we're already into qualifying, as you can see. It's very interesting to be back once again this season for some more action going on out on track. Let's see how these drivers are going to do. We've got a McLaren that's coming out on track first. That's going to be the man of Nico Hasenberg, who's coming out for TE. First driver out on track, of course, here tonight in that very orange and black McLaren. Then it's an Alpine behind him. That's the Alpine of Kontz, who is actually behind him for CIE. CIE returning Mekas again for tonight. He also drove in Silverstone as well, so this is actually his 3rd race, a hat-trick of races in a row. Clerk, of course, retiring because of the qualifying ban, so he's already going to be starting last at the back of the grid. Of course, no pit lane starts in FRLT or on this year's game at all. You see quite a lot of drivers already out on track. We've already got, that's already 6 drivers, plus with quite a few more who are also coming out on track at the same time. So a lot of drivers making their way round rather slowly. I think a few drivers getting stuck in Sector 1 by a very slow-moving McLaren. But it's going to be, an Aston Martin, that is. Also, as you might see, AMS Takubi and AMS Yuri, both drivers who drove for ABE this season, now switched sides to the championship leaders of AMS. They're both racing for them here tonight. But let's run on board with the man of Nico Rassenberg as he makes his way round to be the first driver to start a lap, crossing line, now opening the rear wing with the DRS, of course, heading down the pit straight. The pit straight rather long. Many overtakes can be made here. And now heading into turn 1, braking about 90 meters, throwing it into the corner, getting the curb very nicely, and again over the curb slightly, onto the grass a little bit too much, using quite a bit of overtake there off of the exit of turn 2. Of course, you want to get that exit. You need that exit to work. The McLaren looking very fast, incredibly fast, going over 310 kilometers already, heading into the next 2 corners. Heading over, he actually invalidates Nico Rassenberg, making a mistake already rather early in his lap. But I believe the next driver who's on a lap, I believe, is either a Mercedes. I think it's Takubi, who's actually the next one on a lap, if I am standing correctly. Or it's actually Kontz. No, it is actually Kontz. My bad. It is Kontz who's the next driver on a lap. We're going to pick him up into the next sector. Now, heading through the final sector now, through the fastest corners on the entire circuit. He makes his way round. These are the 4 final corners and the 4 fastest corners on the entire track, making his way past the Mercedes. I believe that is AMS Yuri he made his way past. And now into the final corner. Very nice there from the Alpine. Now heading round, using overtake, using everything he's got up to the line. It's a 1 minute 18.606 to start off qualifying here tonight. And it's a very interesting start from him. I think the next driver is his teammate Mikas to go up to the line. He does a 1 minute 18.723. So far, pretty interesting. BP in the room, only able to go P3. He hasn't secured his spot exactly at the moment. So that's going to be some looking after. Now, Restroom crosses the line. He improves. He goes to P3. 1 minute 18.847 from the ABE driver himself. ABE needing an improvement this week in their form. We're now going to drop down to last SET Lucas. He's invalidated, so not the lap he'll be looking for. I believe it's a Williams. That's Stefan Kuchen who's making his way around. He's shown some performance before. He showed a decent performance before for MRA. Let's see what he's going to do this time. It's only 5th fastest as he's immediately beaten by the Haas. and AERO driver Alexander Delnik ultimately in the end. I believe that is, I'm not sure who that is who's actually crossing the line. That was NTN who crossed the line. My bad there. Few drivers, different drivers crossing the line, different drivers starting laps. I'm not sure who's doing what at the moment. We've got AMS Yuri who's on a lap. He's going to cross the line. He goes 7th. I think he got blocked by some traffic there. So he is slowest of them all in P7. AMS maybe not having a perfect time with their drivers at the moment. We can see both Alpines crawling back to the pit lane. We now look to Philip Fragzak making his way round the final corner. Fragzak making his way. Let's see what Philip can do when he comes up to the line for ABE. He's gonna slot in P7, which is immediately beaten once again by another Haas, and that's Kirill Yasko, who goes P4. Of course, AERO needing this big improvement this week because they are down in 8th in the Constructors. Remember, they finished last season in 4th, so at the moment, they're not on their way for a good season so far. They're rather having a rough season as it is. So, of course, they're hoping for some better performances. Alex Linares making his way round the final corner. He goes, but he's going to pull into the pits. He's not happy on his lap. We're now going to follow with NTN, who's invalidated on his lap. He's going for another lap. We now have Gatcha, who's coming up to the line next now. Let's see what Gatcha can do. It's only P6, but it is just 14 thousandths of a second ahead of his teammates. That's P6 and P7 for MAR. Maybe a return to form for them at the moment, as it very much is showing for these drivers at the moment. We've got Azurk, who returns to the league. He's just invalidated, I do believe, but he returns to FRLT this season. It's been a while since we've last seen Azurk driving. Looking to, I think it's Harrison. Yes, it is. Harrison spins. It's in the wall. He's in the wall. He's lost his front wing. It's a yellow flag. His teammate Phoenix is going to continue on his way, but it is incredibly interesting to see drivers struggling for grip off for the start. Straight away in qualifying, they're struggling already. Very interesting to see. Phoenix, up to the line he comes. He's going to only go 8th, but he does jump 3 drivers while he's at it. But we now look to, I think that's NTN who's crossing the line next. He's actually invalidated again. Then we're looking to Takubi, who's done a purple middle sector, our reigning drivers champion. He currently, by the way, is almost entirely outside of contention to win the title at the moment. He needs to score quite a lot of points here tonight if he wants to bring himself back into contention. He needs to get a win here tonight to keep himself in contention, as he goes P6, slotting in behind both the Haases of AERO drivers of Kirill Yasko and Alexander Delnik. But not too bad. But at the moment, AMS sitting P6 and P12. They might be wanting to improve that later on. We now look to SET Lucas, who's on a lap. He's done an all-right first sector so far. SET needing a big night here. They've only scored 2 points so far in 3 races. They've had 4 retirements out of those 6 possible that they could have. So it's been a bit of a struggle for them so far this season. SET Lucas, that could be a fake purple sector because his sector 1 wasn't particularly impressive. But let's see what the Ferrari man can do. Track evolution, of course, important. But it's incredible to see that the first 3 drivers to cross the line are actually the top 3 drivers so far in qualifying. Very interesting to show that maybe the track, when it was clearer and earlier on in qualifying, maybe it was working a bit better, as SET Lucas goes slowest of them all, ultimately, squeezing in AMS Yuri in the middle now of the 2. We now look to Nico Rassenberg, who's now got a Red Bull behind. He's really stuck in traffic out of everybody. He's hugely stuck in traffic. I've just seen Phoenix improve. He's gone to P9 ahead of Philip. Quite interesting to see there from him. Let's see as the drivers continue to make their way round. Nico Rassenberg, decent sector 1. He's had a lot of traffic, though. I do feel bad for him here. He's had a lot of traffic in his way, but maybe just a bit of a misstep with when to go and when not to go. Neb Restrooms also just started his lap, I do believe. He's actually slowed down. He's already done with his lap. Switching back to the McLaren of Nico into the final sector he goes, throwing the car in. He's very aggressive with the car, not wanting to let it go at all, pushing all the way that he can at the moment. Now heading down towards the final corner, Nico Rassenberg goes. He's currently quite a few drivers without lap times. We've got a full grid tonight. It's going to be quite interesting to see. Now coming up to the line, here comes Nico Rassenberg. He does go ahead of SCT Lucas, but it is still second slowest. So TE having a few of their problems tonight, for sure. Definitely them having a few problems, along with some other drivers. Alex Linares, ultimately his teammate, the man of Nico Rassenberg's teammate, ultimately making his way round as well. I think NTN also is on a lap. Yes, he is. There was a Mercedes. I think that's Yuri, who's actually next to cross the line. He's up by 0.6 of a second. So he could be finding himself up into the top 5 at the moment, possibly top 4. So let's see what he can do. Yuri making his way round to cross the line. Yuri goes P4, exactly half a tenth behind Neb Westroom. But quite interesting. Yes, Timon, I'm seeing you saying many things in chat. Quite interesting to see there. Alex Linares goes P6. I think we got Philip who's crossing the line. He's actually invalidated. Not a good lap from him. We got a Williams and an Alpine. That's Const who's actually going to cross the line. He's going to improve by near on 0.3 of a second. 1 minute 18.313. Very interesting to see here. Very interesting. Incredibly interesting. When is... By the way, yes. What do you mean qualifying ban? I'm very confused with what you mean qualifying ban. I don't know what qualifying ban you're on about. Send it to me in DMs. Send it to me in DMs. And I'll look after the race. Alexander Delnik goes P2. Very good. Mikas not improving on his lap. 12 NTN goes P4. Very interesting to see there. Neb Restroom as well, not improving. Yuri improved, of course, to go P6. Takubi, P9. He's up by 900. He's one of the last drivers to actually be crossing the line, to be honest. So he's quite late to the party. Gatcha is only up by 86,000 at the moment. Drivers not finding a huge amount of time, except Alexander Delnik and Konz, who have found, and NTN, who have all found the most amount of time on their final runs, as Gatcha pulls himself up into the top 9. Goes 9th, all into the 1 minute 18s now. Very interesting to see. Who else is on a lap at the moment? It's not Azuk. Is it NTN? Is he pushing? No, he isn't. Is there anybody actually pushing on a lap? Takubi, I do believe, is pushing on a lap. Let's see. Yeah, I do know about the lineup thing. As Takubi goes P3, almost snatching that P2 position and getting onto the front row, but he's on the second row at the moment. And for him, I think he'll be happy to take that for now. Be a very strong lap time from Takubi. I do know, Timon. I do know. Don't stress. Essentially, tonight's going to be interesting. As it currently stands, by the way, just to make it clear to everybody, just as it stands, the team of ultimately none other than the guys of AMS could, yes, and I'm going to say it, could walk away with winning the Constructors next race, and Sosoi could win the Drivers' Championship next race as well. So in Brazil, it could happen. But with where AMS is sitting at the moment, P3 and P7, out of all the teams, CRE would actually, and where also the team of ABE is sitting at the moment, along with TTRE, ultimately, this would see Alpine, by the way, go... it is TIR. TIR is the team of RB. RB or VCAR, whichever one you want to call it. I I know, Harry, I know some people have had their opinions on this. And I'm still looking into it. I'm not 100%. Like, I'm letting them race tonight because it's quite short notice to go no. But I will look into it. I shall look into it when I have a bit more time over this week. Ultimately, Nico Rassenberg, he's going out for his final run. He's gone very early, actually. Incredibly early, I must say. Already into Sector 2. Nobody else out on track. He's alone out there. He's got to rush round, though, because he doesn't want to get caught in traffic at the moment. That'd be the worst thing for him to happen at this point, is if he gets caught out in traffic. Because he's only just reached the end of Sector 2. He's only just heading into Sector 3. So he's got to fly around the track now. Because already you can see an Alpine's coming out. We've got a Red Bull that's coming out. We've got a lot of cars starting to flat out. So Nico Rassenberg needs to hurry a little bit on his lap. But we're going to ride aboard with the McLaren driver and the TE driver. We're going to see what he can do on this final run. He has quite a lot of cars coming out on track. He wants to try and jump as many as he can. He's going to jump a huge queue of them. But there's a few cars on the right-hand side who aren't exactly getting out of the way. And now, down into the braking zone. They stay to the right just enough. Rassenberg using the curbs. Ooh, a little bit of sliding there. Now, heading round the long right-hander into the end of Sector 1. It's 73 thousandths up, which at the moment wouldn't improve his position. He'd still stay P18. TE needs a big finish this weekend, this week, and for the rest of the season, because they want to gain some places. They were looking strong. They were actually looking on for third in the Constructors, by the way, quite early on in the season, quite a bit early on, I think round 3, 4, and 5, they were looking at the position of sort of top 3, but since then they've really not been getting it. Now Nico Rassenberg pushing his way around. He's going to have another car in his way trying to pick up some slipstream. He's not really going to pick up much. Many cars out on track at the moment going round the final corner. Can Nico Rassenberg improve? I'm not sure whether he's improving. I'm very much not sure whether he will improve. He does improve by near on 2/10. He goes to P16, and that's the time he's going to have to take. Kil Yasko gets a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking, which sadly does mean we are going to have a lobby restart because of the illegal blocking. We are going to have a lobby restart because of the illegal blocking, which is, of course, quite annoying. Wouldn't usually do it for many other things, but we'll have to see. Kontz is on a lap. Who's closest to the line, actually? I'm trying to figure out who's closest to the line. I believe it's Gatcher. No, it's not Gatcher. It's Stefan Kuchen. I think Mikas. Yes, it's Mikas, actually. 10th and a half up at the moment out of the second sector. Qualifying is now over, which means Nico Rassenberg's qualifying is over and Clerk's qualifying is over. And Mikas goes P3, jumps to Kubi at the moment. We can see Philip went P8. Good. Cons goes even faster. 1:18.131. Very interesting to see there. I think we've got an RB coming up to the line next. Yes, that's Phoenix who goes P11. We've got both Saubers. I'll wait for them to cross the line. Where does NTN? He stays in P5. BP in the room retiring. Yuri's retired. He's done with his session now. The next driver, Delnick coming up to the line. Neb Restroom went P3. Not an improvement from Delnick. As we see Takubi goes P5. Gaining a few places at the end of qualifying ultimately. Looking further back, Theodore's given up, I do believe. Stefan Kuchen's invalidated. And that is qualifying. I think a lobby restart is what we're going to do. I think a lobby restart. No. No. Ultimately, P. Ultimately, this is the qualifying order. Let's go with it. I'm trying to figure out lobby restart or not. Konts on pole position, followed by Alexander Delnik, Nebrestu, Mikas, Takubi, NTN, Gatcha, Yuri, Philip, Kirill Yasko, Alex Linares, Phoenix, Theodore, Stefan Kuchin, Harrison, 12 Azak, Rasenberg, BP in the room, SET Lucas, and Clerk to finish off the grid. I think we. I think we should be having a lobby restart. I think it is a lobby restart, just to make clear. Going to be. Yes, there is going to be. Okay, we'll sort it after the race. My apologies, I'm just trying to sort things. It's because Takubi's saying he impeded. He's saying somebody impeded. Yeah, so so Takubi's saying he did impede the driver. So the driver who got the penalty did impede. So we won't be going to a lobby restart. So we won't be doing a lobby restart because whenever there's some contradiction that he was actually, I've then got to look at it after the race, essentially. Going to be quite interesting to see. Let's see what they're going to do. They're going to be getting ready in 3 minutes. Takubi got impeded. So Takubi was the one who got impeded. So I think we'll just look at it after the race. I think it's just something that comes and goes. It's just something. So we're going to have to see how this goes. So we're going to see how this goes. We're going to be getting ready in 2 minutes' time. I hope everybody's having an absolutely great Tuesday night. Please think about subscribing and leaving a like. We're getting closer and closer to however many subscribers I want to get. I don't even know what our goal is. But please show some support towards the channel. It is going to be incredibly interesting to see how. Thank you anyway for all the support this season. You guys have absolutely been amazing in general. Absolutely, the support off the scale this season. I can't lie. We're going to see how these drivers can do. Now, as they make their way around, there's no formation lap, remember? It is a 50% race. We did our 18 minutes qualifying. 50% race will follow. Let's see how these drivers are going to do. There's talk of grid penalties being all up and down the grid, so we're going to have to see post-race how that's like. So let's see how the drivers are going to do. ABE need a big night. TTRE and, of course, also TTRE's got a hill to climb. CIE look like they're looking very dominant here in Monza, almost as like they did it back all the way back in Silverstone just 2 races ago. with P4 and P5 they got. So they were the most consistent team out there for position-wise. Looks like they might be doing it again here tonight, which will be incredible to see. Let's see how the drivers are now going to do. Everybody should be readying up now. And now we are going. It's 1, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go here in Monza for FRLT Tier 1. And it's a great getaway from the man of Cons. He's gotten away pretty well from the rest. Everybody else struggling a bit. And let's see. Now into the braking zone of turn 1. There's some damage happening further back. Bits of contact. NTN dropping down the order. Lots of contact further back. Cons is walking away from the rest of the grid. He's already got over a second lead in this race. He's got it away absolutely perfectly. Absolutely crazy. This is on top of everything. So now they are getting away. We can see some racing happening further back. NTN getting past Mikas. Look at, oh my god! Drivers swarming all over the place. Mikas climbing up the order. He's already up to P7 here and now. Takubi fighting his way through. He's up to P9 in this race, so a good improvement there. Few drivers jumping up and down the order. Lots of drivers further back battling. But Konz already leads by 2.5 seconds before the end of lap 1. Konz is just walking away from the rest of the grid right now. Absolutely crazy. Clerk as well, gaining lots of positions at the moment. He's already made his way up to P14. Stefan Kuchin now making his move on the Aston Martin of Theodore. And that's a great move there. Now, Alex Linares making his move on Mikas down the inside. He's going to retake P7. You can see Takubi also going for it. They're going 3 wide down the straight. Let's see what they're going to do. Do they want to risk it? Don't they want to risk it? There's a battle. Look at how close this is. Gacha making a move into P3. Goes the MAR driver. He's made that move work. That's exactly what MAR needed. They lost out from pole and they didn't get a podium. Only P4 finished last week, but a podium could be on here and now. Gacha hasn't had the best of records in FRLT, but he might be having his favorite race here tonight. Now, as we look at the tires, Neb Restroom, by the way, on hard tires. Only one driver on hard, a few drivers on hard tires, one driver on soft tires. A few drivers have had to come into the pits already. You can see some battling further back, teammates battling. That was Clerk and Theodore, both having a battle over the position of P12. But already you can see Clerk already up into P12 in this race, up 8 places. And this is absolutely going his way at the moment. But talk about the lead. Konz has lost about 2/10 over the last lap to Neb Restroom, so he is losing slight bits of time during the lap. You can see the possible race strategies coming up there. Stefan Kuchin trying to make his way past the Aston Martin of Theodore. The braking zone, he's not able to do it on the hard tires. He's struggling, wiggling all over the rear. That allows Kirill Yasko to go through into P14 now, climbing back up the order after that grid penalty, but that's still up to P14 he goes. Gacha makes the move for P2, pushing the Red Bull out of Neb Restroom very wide, almost like Max Verstappen did a few years ago to, I believe it was Valtteri Bottas. And now that's a move up into second place. And that is MAR back onto the front row in this race. And now the man of Gacha is running away and he's trying to catch the Alpine of Konz at the moment. But he is struggling a little bit because that Alpine is being super consistent across every lap. 12 Azek just made his way up into P15. That's a good move for the Sauber driver. Exactly what he needed. His teammate, though, in a very different position up in P6. As we see, let's switch on this because I'd like to see the sector times. But still, the gap now growing again. Still 10th less than it was on lap 1. But the time is slowly coming down, but not coming down a lot. You can see Neb Restroom keeping up rather nicely. 6/10 behind, but everybody's so close. Here comes NTN. Is he going to try and make a move on Alexander Delnik here into the final corner? No, he's going to wait behind. He does want to make the move, but he's just not able to make it yet. It's Haas versus Sauber. We talk about this in real life. It's very interesting to see here out on track here tonight. Gacha also catching up, by the way. He's just set the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 25 to 21.5 P5. Now, NTN heading down the inside of Alexander Delnik into the turn 1, into turn 2 now. Side by side, the Sauber round the outside, getting the grip, getting everything he needed, and that is now P5, a place where NTN has found himself quite a few times this season. It's going to be ultimately the third time this season at the moment that he's found himself in P5 in a race. Now, Takubi making the dive bomb down the inside. He's made contact! He's made contact with Mikas. Almost 4 wide, 3 wide through there almost. And now, Takubi makes contact with Mikas in the Alpine. But that now means Mikas drops down a few places. And Takubi now finds himself near on 2 seconds behind Alexander Delnik in this race, making a group. And now it is very close. Further back, all the way from P7 down to P17 is all right next to each other. They're all within literal tenths of each other. You can see them all going around the corners. The top 6 all staying very close. NTN trying to make the move on AMS Yuri into the final corner. He's trying to find a way past. Will he make a way past? No, he won't. Not just yet. And he's still trying. But I have to be impressed by the man of Neb Restroom, who is putting together a race on those hard tyres. Everybody around him on mediums, but he's keeping up. BP in the room gets a 3-second time penalty. Mikas now makes the move into P8. Very strong move there. NTN trying to make his way past AMS Yuri. Now into turn 1. Neb Restroom goes back up into P2. There's a defense, though, from the Williams of Gacha. And also NTN trying to make his way past the Mercedes of Yuri. There's a lot of battling. Look at this! Yuri trying to make a move. He's trying to go past the Williams. Another Mercedes powered car. Look at the Sauber though. 3 wide. They go into the next chicane. NTN pushes his way past. Contact through the... Oh, into the wall they go. Into the gravel, sorry, they go. They're trying to get back out on track. BB in the room now retires from the race. The first retirement here tonight. But now NTN just drops down the order. I have no words. I have absolutely no words for this. Look at that. Also, Theodore going off on track. He's down to P17 now. NTN dropping down the order so massively in this race. It is absolutely crazy, but it has all fallen apart for Gacha. I said it. Maybe a bit of commentators curse going on, but there, I said about it happening. The Gacha doesn't have a lot of luck, but here tonight, his luck is proving to really not be there throughout almost every single race he's been a part of. He's now behind his teammate Stefan Kuchen, who has been struggling this race. NTN now battling with Phoenix, trying to go round the outside of the RB driver. Still unable to for the Sauber just as of yet. Mikas putting in the fastest lap of the race. Alexander Delnik now making the move on AMS Yuri as he goes up into P3 in this race. Very strong move from the Haas driver. You can see Mikas has caught up with Philip and Takubi and Harrison and going all the way down. They've all gotten rather close again. It's more Neb Restroom and Cons who are both on their own in this race. But it is incredibly interesting action everywhere. It is really happening everywhere. Takubi trying to look for a move on Philip. Philip makes a big mistake. Big slide from the Red Bull. Now heading down towards the first Lesmo. Takubi won't make the move. He doesn't want to make it just yet. He doesn't feel safe enough. But Harrison climbing up the order in the RB. You can see, look at how the Mercedes... Ooh, Philip going wide there in the chicane. Here comes Takubi now, heading down this second straight. He's got this DRS, and he's up at a P6, and that's a move made from the Mercedes driver and the AMS driver here tonight, making his debut in FRLT for AMS. We also saw Kirill Yasko make his way up into P9 now, but everybody is so close. Look at this. Harrison also going for a move in the sister team of RB for TIR here tonight. They want to stop their pointless drought. They've gone 2 races without points. They don't want to go a third without points now. But at the moment, it is heating up. As you can now see, Clerk up into the top 10 he goes. Few drivers coming into the pits. That is Alex Linares who's coming into the pits. Yuri now making a move. He's up into P3. Some battling further back between Alexander Delnik and Mikas. They're all battling at the moment like crazy. None of them care at the moment. Absolutely no words right now. I have absolutely no words for what's going on. Delnik will have to ultimately sit in P5 and give up 2 places in just the first sector alone. Oh, this is absolutely crazy right now. But now Mikas has to try and keep up with AMS Yuri, who's pulling off in the distance. But we've got 3 different constructors, 3 different drivers inside of the top 3 on the podium, which would be the first time in quite a while we would have seen that. Quite interesting to see here tonight. TE not getting away nicely, even though Alex Linares has gone for an early pit stop. He's still, the TE drivers down in P17, P18, far away from the rest of the grid. But this is just so incredibly close. Look at Mikas, still within a second, using his ERS to close up. He's going to get DRS down the pit straight, but he doesn't care because as long as he has DRS, it's enough for him. But he's already closing with, of course, Slipstream. You could just see that line of cars all coming around the final corner. Takubi now makes the move up into P5, past Alexander Delnik. Exactly the move he needed. Mikas making the move on Yuri at the same time. So one AMS driver makes an overtake and the other one gets overtaken. And now Mikas onto the podium, trying to chase after his teammate at the same time, who's now leading the race by 2.2 seconds. Ned Restream slowly closing in on the Alpine in this race, but everybody is still so close after 8 laps. 8 laps. This is how long it's been, just 8 laps into this race. It is so... I have no words. I have no words for how this is happening at the moment, but it is happening, and it is going absolutely crazy right now. And you can see Yuri and Takubi waiting in behind the Alpine. Those two Mercedes looking very hungry for points here tonight. They're on for 22 points as it currently stands, but that's not exactly what they'll be wanting, because the more points they score than ABE, the better it is, because Ned Restroom at the moment is in front of them and will score near on the same as them. There's been a big mistake from Harrison, who's actually dropping through the order. He's dropped outside of the top 10, I think due to a mistake through the fast section, as he now goes down to P11, and outside of the points he goes on those hard tyres. Some struggles maybe from RB and from TIR. Maybe their setup not working how they exactly want it to here tonight. And now Stefan Kuchin is making a move. He makes a move up into P9, as Kirill Yasko is also doing the same, as he made the move up into P7 in this race. And that is now a change out for the podium. AMS Yuri also making a move. Look at the other Mercedes driver. That's ultimately Takubi, who's making a move at the same time. He's now up into P4 behind his teammate. Double AMS overtake. Teamwork is absolutely working to perfection here tonight. But I have to say, it doesn't matter what AMS currently throws at this. There's still a lead of 2.3 seconds from Constant Ned Restroom, and then another 2.5 seconds back to the Mercedes, back to both AMS drivers. It's quite interesting to see that there is such a big gap, near on 5 seconds at the moment, between P1 and P3. There's a large gap, but this is true battling, and this is a true fight. Look at how all of them swarm around the corner from P3 down to P11 are all in this battle. And there's also 12 NCN who's sitting in the background, who's been making his way through the field once again quite slowly, but he's been doing it. And there goes Harrison on Philip as he goes up into P10 now. The hard tyres starting to come into their area now as they start to get faster and faster. Takubi making a move on his teammate of Yuri into P3. Mikas also doing the same. And he's actually going to make a double overtake. He tries to make a double overtake, but he's not going to go for it. And ultimately, he's going to hold on to P4. He gets past one Mercedes. And now, you can see Alexander Delnik also making his way past AMS Yuri, who actually gets a terrible exit from the first chicane. He's actually under attack from the other Haas now of Kirill Yasko, as he pushes him very wide, almost onto the grass there. Very, very interesting racing going on. Everybody is battling for this victory at the moment. It is all coming down here. It is all battling everywhere, and there's a yellow flag. I think that's Azuk who's caused the yellow flag in the chicane. We can see somebody slowing down. Somebody's actually stopped on the pit straight. I'm not sure who that is. I believe that's SET Lucas, who's having a bit of a moment. He's gone into the pits, and he's ultimately retired from the session as well. Another SET double DNF here tonight. More disappointment for them here tonight. But as you can see, this line is getting bigger because NTN has now just joined the DRS line. The DRS train, sorry. He's joined it now. He's joined it now from P3 down to P12. Many drivers coming into the pits. Quite a few coming into the pits there. Saw quite a few Mikas, Takubi all coming in. Stefan Kuchin making his way up into P3. There goes Kirill Yasko, who's also making his move on AMS Yuri. He tries to make the move. He's not able to, and he has to slot back into line. But that's allowed Stefan Kuchin up into P3. Azuk's now retired from the session. He says he's done, and that's our third retirement of the night. We had a full grid to start this race, but incredibly interesting to see still how close the entire grid is. But some drivers choosing the undercut, some aren't. We're going to have to see how this continues to play out as the race goes on. As I've actually, if I have a look, Takubi's actually come out in P11, as Mikas has actually come out in P13 and found himself over a second behind Takubi now. So the gaps are starting to build, maybe. Some of the traffic getting in the way. So this is going to be probably the most interesting part of the race now. How much traffic is going to be important? You know, how much traffic is going to really kill your race? And that is where we're currently looking at is really this at the moment. Harrison gets a penalty now as he makes his way up into P5. He does get a penalty in this race. Some disappointment there for the TIR driver. He was hoping to go without a penalty this week, but sadly he's gotten it. Now Konz comes into the pits. He's now come in. Another driver, that's Yuri going in. A lot of the rest of the grid are going in. Only 3 drivers staying out. They're the hard runners as well. They're all hard runners who are staying out in this race. A few more drivers as well. Harrison, Theodore. Let's see where Konz actually comes out, because I want to see, has the overcut worked for the Alpine? Very similar, I must say, very similar. I have to say they've come out pretty close to each other, not a huge gap. Still, Takubi now getting overtaken by Mikas, who's actually pushed his way through incredibly well. But look at Konz. Has Konz just pulled off the perfect strategy? Because he's now found himself 4.5 seconds in the ahead of his teammate at the moment, and he's on fresh hard tyres till the end of the race. We've still got 15 laps. This is what's happened in just 12 laps. 12 laps. It's absolutely crazy. I hope you guys are enjoying tonight, because holy hell, I am. And I have no words. I don't even know what to say. If you guys want to subscribe to show some support, please do. If you don't, I don't care, because this action is just so crazy at the moment. I've got no words for it. So do whatever the hell you like, because this race is hectic at the moment. There's now a move. Alexander Delnik now getting his way past Gatcha into P10 he goes, but he's now found himself very far away from the group he was a part of earlier on. Harrison now making his way up into P2. Nice overtake there, and a bit of battling between P2 and P3 in this race at the moment. Let's see how these guys are going to keep on battling, because everything is onto it. Everything is going on. Mikas just putting in the fastest lap of the race. He's only 0.2 of a lap faster than his teammate. Sorry, 0.3 of a lap faster than his teammate on the last lap. But he's put in fastest lap. And at the moment, CIE might be on their way to ultimately catch up to AMS quite a bit. Nico Rassenberg having a spin out of the final corner. He's really struggling. TE having a rather just rough race all around. Their strategy isn't working out for them. Not much is really working for them. Our 4th retirement of the night. Nico Rassenberg now out of the race. But still, it's interesting to see that Konz is still on his own in this race. He's still so much on his own. He's catching up to Theodore Anderson by about half a second. I think about 0.8 a lap at the moment. So he's actually catching up to the TTRE driver incredibly quickly at the moment. But I just have no words for how this race is going right now, because CIE could be on their way to have pure dominance here tonight. They could be finishing with a 1-2. At the moment, they're on their way for a 1-2 in this race. Stefan Kuchin now making his way back up into P2. But generally, Konz and Mikas are sitting in these places, and they could be 1-2 at the end of the race. They're set to be 1-2 at the moment. So my brain is just thinking. All my brain is doing is just thinking, could CRE be the first team this season to get a 1-2 finish? No other team has done it. No team has done it this season. Last season, we saw FG did it and ABE did it. Only 2 teams did it last season, and those were the 2 teams, ABE and FG. FG, I believe, did it 2 or 3 times across last season. AMS is yet to do that across 2 seasons. AMS is yet to get a 1-2 in their dominant campaign they're having right now. But this race, they've switched up the lineup. No Sasoi this week. No Sasoi, no Latifi, nobody else. But they've brought on their new drivers of Takubi and Yuri, both from ABE. Yet, even though they've done that, they're not performing at their best at the moment. P7 and P9, even with 4 drivers to pit, that's still only going to send them. It's not going to bring them up a lot of places still. It's just quite interesting to see how the groups have spread out a bit more as the race, of course, has gone on, and with the pit stops, of course. But we can see Theodore now coming into the pits. That's going to allow the man of Const to pull up into the top 4 now. He goes. Very nice position gain. But there's a lot of battling happening further back. Yuri's just put in the fast lap of the race. He's actually going for P5 now. There goes the Mercedes. There goes the AMS. Into P5 he goes. Takubi chasing after a potential championship chance. But the thing is, sadly for Takubi, he might still drop out of championship chance, even with his new teammate of Sasoi, because Sasoi finds himself, I believe, about 100 points. About 100 points over, I think it's about 100 or just over 100 points ahead of Takubi. So Takubi needs to win all of the races and get fastest lap with Sasoi scoring 0 points for him to just win the title here tonight. That's what he needs to do. Yes, I've said it. That is what he needs to do here tonight. But he's not being able to do that. He's finding himself 3.4 seconds. I think has Kotz made a mistake because he's just lost about 8 tenths in a single lap to Takubi and everybody else. Neb Restrum now comes into the pits as the other two still continue of Harrison and Stefan Kuchen. This is interesting. Is Kotz struggling with his car on the hard tires? Is his setup not built for this? Because he's not finding a huge amount of time. He's not far off his personal best, only 3 thousandths. Takubi's just put on in the new fastest lap of 20.506, which, by the way, was half a second faster on that lap than Kotz, which is so interesting to see. Alex Linares making the move up into P7. He's gotten past Neb Restrum. But Neb Restrum, he's come out on the medium tyres, the faster compound, and he's going to find himself very close to this group as well, and on for a chance of a podium still in this race, unless Yuri keeps staying behind the distance he is currently behind, because he is a decent distance behind at the moment. Still, Phoenix gets a 3-second time penalty. That's some more disappointment for TIR. Both drivers now with 3-second time penalties in this race. Disappointing night, though, for 3 drivers as it currently stands. One is Kirill Yasko, the other's Philip, and the other is Alexander Delnik, who was fighting for a podium earlier on, who now sees his podium, who can't even see his podium because they're all the way around a few more corners ahead. They're out 3 corners ahead as it currently stands, so they're quite far ahead. That gap, by the way, getting reduced even more, down to 2.5 seconds. That gap is getting reduced a lot, and Takubi is pulling along everybody else with them. Kontz's dominance on those medium tyres looks like it's coming to an end. Looks like very much how it was for Max Verstappen back on the weekend, of course, on Sunday, as now Mikas makes the move for the essential P2 position, for provisional P2, as he makes his way ahead of Takubi. Yuri's still struggling to keep up so much. We've seen Neb Restrum, by the way. He's made that move up into P7 past the McLaren already. Important move needed to be made there for the ABE driver. They want to keep themselves in contention of holding on to the constructors. But to be honest, where they currently sit, only going to be scoring 6 points here tonight. Only going to bring them to 141 points currently in their campaign, which will ultimately drop them behind just one team. That's going to actually drop them just behind CRE, who will jump up from from currently 4th they are, up to 2nd in the constructors. TTRE taking a bit more of a backbench this weekend, only on their way for at best P9 at the moment for Clerk, and that's even looking a bit difficult for him. So everything is still on the line here. Everything's still there. NTN gets a 3-second time penalty. Interesting to see there. Harrison now comes into the pits. Very interesting. Stefan Kuchen staying out for even longer. He's wanting to stretch to the medium tyres, but now that allows Konz into P2. The gap, though, from the last lap has actually increased very slightly. Neb Restrum just putting in the fastest lap of the race, by the way. He's just done that right now. Takubi now pulling past the Alpine of Mikas into P3. He goes once again. I think we're seeing some swapping going on. NTN now finds himself P8. Clerk inside of the top 10 now. He could be on for P8. But even then, TTRE won't overtake ABE at the moment. ABE might just scrape through and stay ahead of CRE. But as it stands, they're not looking like they're going to be getting that at all here tonight. But you can see Neb Restroom just sitting there. He's waiting. He wants to make this move past Yuri, take some points away from AMS, take another 2 points away from them here tonight, and then hopefully take some more points away from Takubi then as well. So not only losing 2 points, they could ultimately lose 5 points here tonight, just there alone. But they won't lose points to ABE. You can see, ooh, Neb Restroom really wanting to make that move very soon. He's wanting to do that now. He needs to do it now. He hasn't got a lot of time left. But it's going to be very interesting to see how these drivers can do. Here comes Neb Restroom. He's going for it now. He's going for it early. He wants to make that move, and he's going to make that move down the inside of AMS Yuri, and that's a position gained for Neb Restroom, and his hunt for the podium continues. That's another position gain. He's made 2 overtakes since he went to those medium tires, and it's not stopping here and now. He's now chasing after Mikas with that DRS. He wants to try and make the move. Can he make the move? Is he able to? Ooh, it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to definitely be interesting to see. Neb Restroom has now made that move. He has made that move work. He's done it. But Mikas is fighting back in all of this. Drivers are now filed back into their proper positions. Con's leading by 2.2 seconds. And from Takubi, who is then from Mikas, Neb Restroom, and Yuri, NTN now makes his move up into P7 ahead of Gacha. But with penalties, both Gacha and Harrison will drop back, allowing, I believe that will allow Clark to finish P8 in this race at the moment. So his real fight could be somewhere else. So it's all going to come down to this. Mikas really fighting for everything now into the middle sector. He's 6/10 behind Takubi, but of course he's going to get that DRS. He's got that slipstream as well on the AMS driver. So there's not so much of a worry for Mikas here, but his only worry is to drop off for the podium and drop behind Neb Restroom. So really, Mikas's fight might be more with Takubi than it is with Neb Restroom, because at least if they finish 1-3, it will still be a hefty amount of points, still at least 40 points walking their way for CRE here tonight, and really pulling themselves up into a great title chance. Here comes Mikas on the man of Takubi. He's making that move. Look at Neb Restroom. Look at that. Takubi really battling it out with the CRE driver. Of course, AMS don't want CRE to get a 1-2 finish here tonight and diminish their lead in the Constructors' Championship, because it will diminish their lead, actually. Based off of tonight's points, it will diminish their lead quite a bit as it currently stands, because they're only on for 25 points versus a massive 43 points for CRE. And at the moment, CRE could become the first and the one and only team this season so far to get a 1-2 finish this season. But they won't be scoring maximum points. They won't be getting fastest laps. So still, it is so interesting to see how CRE all of a sudden have come out potentially the most dominant team out of them all. It's now Neb Restroom making that move on Takubi to push him off of the podium, to push AMS off of the podium. There he goes, up into P3 now, the ABE driver onto the podium. Ultimately, once again this season, he's done it. He's already done it once before. He did it back in Hungary, and he's doing it again here tonight. Clerk gets a 3-second time penalty. That's going to really hurt his races. He could now, at the moment, he will drop outside of the top 10, as he now is dropping outside of the top 10. He's down to 11th already. Really, AERO strategy not worked out for them. They're outside of the points by miles, and really no chance. Look at Takubi trying to battle again with Neb Restroom. It's not working out there. 6 laps remaining, and it is coming down very quickly. But Mikas is being a really good teammate here. He's being incredibly strong. I have to say, he's being incredibly strong. Theodore Anderson at 5th retirement of the night, sadly. Ultimately at 5th. No safety car, and no virtual safety car has come out tonight, which is the first time in a little while that we haven't had one of those. So it's quite interesting to see that no drivers making mistakes here. And this is really when you start to see the drivers honing in, really trying to get everything they can. They're not making so many mistakes as they were, even though we do have 5 retirements and a quarter of the grid is gone. It is still that thing that you hold on to. You see the drivers who really are pushing for chances are right here and right now. They're performing well, and that is CRE who have gone, we don't want to finish 4th in the Constructors. We've been overtaken by TTRE. We've been stuck behind AB for most of the season. This is now our time to go and try and get a 1-2 finish and score 43 points and pull ahead of both teams. They will pull ahead anyway, even with a 1-3 or even just with a win. They will pull ahead of the team of TTRE, who ultimately here tonight won't be scoring points as it currently stands. But here comes Neb Restroom. He moves to the right. He moves to the inside line. He wants to make the move. He has to go slightly late on the brakes. Quite similar. Mediums maybe not being so strong. But look at Takubi. Takubi out of nowhere. He's trying to make the move as well. He's trying to get an overtake past Mikas at the same time to try and close up to the race leader at the moment. The gap is now 3 seconds between first and second. So Mikas growing that gap out. And look at Yuri as well trying to make a move. Now into the chicane they go. Ultimately, will Mikas have to try and defend a bit of lag there with Yuri? Mikas, though, drops down to P5. He's lost 3 places within just one sector. Absolute disappointment there. The 1-2 looking a little bit more out of the chance for CRE. But at least a 1-5 will still finish them with 35 points here tonight. At least at the moment, 35 points, which will help them out. Even if, even at the moment, 27 points will go AMS's way. They'll still close in slightly on AMS's lead in the Constructors' Championship. They still eat into that lead slightly, which is quite interesting to see. But we're going to have to see what goes on. But Neb Restroom now in P2, back to where he was. He's pulling slightly in front of the Mercedes duo, but not enough at the moment. The medium tyres, their fastest times sort of disappearing. Now, 3.6 seconds behind the race leader. The gap is growing once again. You can see Neb Restroom just holding in the slipstream. He knows he's safe for the moment. He knows he can hold on to this. Look at this, though. Mikas making the mistake of going to the inside line. He's going to get pushed out by the McLaren, but he does get a better exit. That allows him to stay P5 at the moment. Philip now retires from the race. Another ABE retirement. It's back-to-back retirements for ABE. It's disappointment once again here tonight. Side-by-side racing into the chicane. Oh, contact. Oh, Mikas drops down to P6. This is absolutely turning into a torrid last few laps for Mikas and a very long last few laps for Mikas. Now, at the moment, his best chance could be just P5 in this race. So we'll have to see how that goes. But a 6th retirement of tonight. But it's interesting to see how Philip has given up. And ABE look like their title chances are completely out of the window. And maybe AMS have already won the title in this race. Maybe they have. Maybe they haven't. We'll have to see after this race. Yeah, many DNFs. So many DNFs. I do agree. Many DNFs. Way too many DNFs that we usually see. Not a usual thing we see here. We haven't had so many retirements as of the last few races. But this race may be proving to be a little bit different. So now, heading down the pit straight once again. Neb Restroom versus Takubi. And it's going to be the Red Bull that comes out on top. Mikas also making his way past Alex Linares for P5 once again after getting overtaken by so many drivers. He's dropped down from P2 to P5. The disappointment there for the CRE driver, all falling away very slightly. Ultimately, looking around at a few drivers. Looking at AMS though, they're on for another very strong finish here tonight. They're still on for 27 points, still to walk away with more points than ABE will. They're still looking at 9 more points than ABE will score here tonight. Interesting to see. Because CRE at the moment are on their way to overtake both TTRE and ABE. If I'm correct with my maths, it should be. And I think it is. But now it's a battle. It is AMS versus ABE. Once again, first and second in the Constructors at the moment. But we're going to be seeing a new race winner, not a new Constructors winner, but we will be seeing the streak of AMS once again take a pause after the first break week of the season. Interesting to see how AMS have, in the first 6 races, they won the first 4 out of the 6 races. But here, they're only on their way to win 1 out of 3 races. They've only won so far, They've only won 2 out of 3. They're only on their way to a 50% success rate. They had a 66% success rate, 66% win rate before the break week. So it's been a rather interesting one to see the change in idea and sort of the change in pace with teams and what they're wanting to get from the car. But it will be interesting to see a CRE victory for the first time since Belgium. Remember, CRE were the team to open the season with a victory, debut victory, of course. But here tonight, it looks like Konz will be on his way to achieve another victory. and achieve CRE's second victory of the season, climbing themselves up the all-time winners list in total wins. AMS lead with the most victories out of any team. It's going to be rather interesting to see as the race goes on into the final 2 laps. We're going to be going very shortly. Let's see how these final 2 laps will go. Takubi in P2, Neb Weststream falling slightly behind the medium tyres, maybe starting to fall off slightly. Only 2 laps remaining in this race. I think Cons might have this race set. Mikas up into P5. And now you can see down into turn 1, Neb Weststream getting pushed out by Takubi and Yuri. Yuri making a mistake off of the exit, though. It looks like Neb Weststream's mediums are really gone, though, with only 2 laps remaining. The sectors are going by. I think AMS know they're not going to win this race with the current gap of 3.5 seconds. But at least Neb Weststream wants to take away a podium for ABE here tonight. He at least wants to get a podium here tonight. He needs a podium for them. He needs to walk away with another podium to ABE's season and another podium to their total podiums to add to their list of trophies that they have in FRLT. But still, ABE they've still only got 2 victories and they haven't won this season, by the way. ABE are still yet to win a single race in Season 2. They had already won 2 races at this point, by the way, last season. Last season, after 9 races, they had won 2 of them. So this season, it's not been going their way. But we're about to go into the final lap of the race here in Monza. It's a battle for P2. It's a battle for the podium altogether. 3-way fight for P2. Not many drivers with penalties. Some further back with a lot of penalties. Now, heading down the pit straight. Here comes Neb Weststream, who moves to the inside. Contact between him and Yuri. Now into the braking zone he goes. He's still on the inside of the AMS driver. He's going to try and get a switchback. He's not able to. Oh, he goes onto the gravel slightly. He actually loses out there. He's not had a good exit from the first chicane. He's going to stay in P4. He's only got one more attempt at this. And that hope is if either AMS driver makes a big mistake on this final lap of the race. It's going to be incredibly interesting to see because AMS have been all but dominant. In 9 races, they've won 6. But that might now change with only a 60% win rate this season, with Cons on his way to win for CRE here tonight. It'll be very, almost completely changing the season and how everything's going to go. It's going to change the constructors as well, with them moving ahead of both ABE and also TTRE moving up into 2nd place. Harrison making some moves. He's up into P7. He needed to make that move now. But we're going to be looking to Kons, who's going to be reaching the final corner. Here he goes into the final corner. He makes his way round. He's going to make it up to the line. Kons wins here in Monza for CRE. They won in Belgium. They win in Monza. They've done it again. Mikas claims the fastest lap. So at least they walk away with a fastest lap point as well. Takubi is 2nd, with Yuri finishing off the podium. Strength from AMS once again. A big podium set for them once again. 33 points scored, and they walk away with, I believe, it will be the 2nd most points out of any team this weekend. But what a race it was. Last week, they walked away with it. They achieved 40 points last week. They've scored 7 less this week, but it's still the 2nd most points out of any team. But it is victory for the Italian driver of Cons. It is victory at his home race. Yes, home race for him. And it is also a big victory for CRE, who claim their 2nd victory, not only this season, but ever in FRLT. What a performance from Cons. Unbelievable. Leading near on pretty much every single lap. Unbeatable here tonight. So let's go down the order. From pole to victory, it is Cons. He's one of the first drivers to actually convert it. I believe he's only the 2nd driver this season to convert a pole to a victory. The only other driver being AMS Sasoi. Sorry, 3rd driver, because there was also Estenberg who did that. Takubi finishes 2nd with Yuri 3rd. Double podium for AMS. Neb Weststream misses out on the podium but finishes 4th, with Mikas in 5th. Alex Linares gets a good finish for TE with 6th. Stefan Kuchin is 7th. Harrison 8th. Gatcha 9th. NTN finishes 10th and at the end of the points. Clerk finishes 11th with Phoenix 12th. Alexander Delnik in 13th. Kirill Yasko 14th. And then here are the retirements. Philip, Theodore, Rasenberg, Azurk, Lucas, and BP in the room. What an absolute finish. I am absolutely sweltering in heat. It is so hot because of the amount of screaming and absolute craziness going on. I have absolutely no words here tonight. No words at all. No words. I'm just so tired. But that was one hell of a race. I've got to say, that was the best race of the season we've had. Best race of the season we've had all season long. No words. Ultimately, it is the end of the stream. I hope you guys have enjoyed this race, because holy, I have. I really have. Ultimately, please think about liking and subscribing to show some support towards the league. Also, click on the notification bell to know about every single last 3 races of the season. Also, for every other race for Tier 2 and 4s. And a little bit of an announcement to be coming up very soon in the next week or so. Also, make sure to click on that notification bell to know about all of the shorts and videos and highlights we do of our races here in Season 2. Make sure to do that. Ultimately, thank you to all of the drivers and teams who made this possible, because without them, we wouldn't have any racing. Also, thank you to everybody who helps me in the league, from my moderators to graphics to commentators. Thank you to all of you. You make this very much possible, as I wouldn't be able to run this very much on my own. Ultimately, thank you to everybody for all of your support this season. Let's keep that going till the end of the season. I hope you all have an absolutely amazing week. And once again, please think about subscribing. And I will see you very soon, everybody. I'll see you next week. Just a reminder of the race we were going to next week. It will be Brazil. The next time, I believe, AMS might have just won the championship based off of this race. They might have just won the title. They might have just won the... Hang on. I need to check this. Give me a minute. So, AMS have a 113-point lead. They have a 113-point lead. So they have 113. Now, Neb Restroom finished, so that would be an extra, 3, and then add on an extra 6. 122. No, it isn't. It's nearly. They needed 44, and again another 44. They needed to have 132. They just miss out. Very slightly. But I believe, if I'm correct, Sasoi still needs to race next week to win the title, I do believe. Because I don't think the title race is over. There's only 75 points on the table. He leads by 67 points. So it's all up to next week. But there is the standings. Just a reminder before we go. Ultimately, once again, I got excited for a minute. Sorry for the false excitement. But ultimately, thank you guys so much for watching. It has been absolutely amazing. And I will see you very soon. I hope you guys have a great week. And I will see you. We should be having a race tomorrow for Tier 2. Make sure to tune in for that at 8 p.m. as well. Also, make sure to tune in for 4s on Sunday at 7 and 8 p.m. as well. Ultimately, thank you so much for all the support. And I'll see you again very soon. Goodbye. And Sundays, but here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 red lights.
Thank you.